Namaste, Shri Matre Namaha, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to this Sunday Soulful Satsangs of Shri Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi. I am Dr. Pallavi Quatra and I have with me Mr. Sandeep, who is assisting me in the moderation of this meeting. Thank you so much, Sandeep. And I welcome all of you on this Sunday morning, which is a difficult time. I kind of anticipate for you to be able to make space and the will to come and attend this satsang. So the satsang is held once in a month on a Sunday where we get together and we try to, get pour in our heartfelt devotion and share our experiences about Sri Bhagwan. The idea is to have a satsang. Satsang means, the company of the illuminated ones. So the idea of a satsang has been always prevalent in our traditions, where like-minded people can come together and share, inspire, and motivate each other to go deeper into their inner journeys. So this satsang, especially, we try to do three kind of activities. One is that we try to read from Bhagwan's books. Second is that we try to share some experiences, whether any of you are keen to share your own experiences, your own ideas, your own devotional offerings for Sri Bhagwan, which could be anything in the form of a bhajan, a poem, a written note that you have, or just verbatim as you go in the flow of how you connected to Bhagwan. What does he actually mean to you? And how is this connection assisting you in your inner journeys? So that's the second type of activity we try to do in the satsang. And the third thing we do is practically applying the teaching. So the main teachings of Sri Bhagwan are, how I comprehend it, I'm going to share that. So I would say they are his teachings could be of three types depending on the tattva or the pravriti or the nature of the sadhaka. So anybody can connect with Sri Bhagwan in either of these three ways, primarily as like a major three groups, I'd say. So one are the sadhakas who like to do the inquiry method. So he advocated the self-inquiry method by questioning who am I. So that is one method of connecting with Sri Bhagwan. So if you are of intellectual disposition and you are aligned and inclined to work with the Jnana method, then you can work with the who am I path of Sri Bhagwan. But that's not the only way. So Sri Bhagwan is like the universal mother who has provided like a huge umbrella of fruits for us. So we can pick and we can enjoy and we can relish and connect with him in many ways. So if you find the self-inquiry method to be difficult because you are more of a devotee, you're more of a bhakta, you're more of devotional disposition, then Bhakti is also one of the methods of connecting with him. And in his own words, he said that Bhakti is the mother of Jnana. So that is a corroborated path to work with Sri Bhagwan. And there is a third path. Now, what is that third path? That third path is the path of silence, in which there is basically the void of Shiva, in which the transmission from Sri Bhagwan, who is the Dakshina Murti, is happening to our hearts, to us, through the medium of silence. So for the very advanced sadhakas who are ready, I'd say that, who are calibrated, who are ready and prepared, there is really no teaching to be followed. There is nothing to be done. And the practice of silence can be used to absorb the force, the grace, and automatically whatever is conducted in that silence will help you to work forward in your internal quest, in unity unique ways that are basically that will be like unique to you. It is not documented anywhere as to how it what are the steps of silence. There is no decorum to that 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 way of working with Sri Bhagwan. So that is how, whatever disposition you may have, wherever you are in your journey, that does not really matter, because many of us, I think, try to connect to Bhagwan, but we find the intellectual method of self-inquiry to be difficult for us. So we give up and we say, no, I can't do this. It's very jati. It's very difficult for me. It's a razor sharp path. I can't meditate so much. I can't do moment to moment awareness as he suggests. So then one finds disappointment and gives up the path. But here, today, I want to share these three methods so that all of us know that we are always in that shade of Bhagwan, and there is no one way to be with him. That's his beauty. That's his global wholesomeness which he represents. And I'd really urge each one of you to have your own unique connection with Bhagwan. It's not about reading his books and just following just one path. So have your own beautiful one-on-one connection with Sri Bhagwan. So in today's meeting, we will be talking about a very, very important event that happened in Bhagwan's timeline. So if any of you are connected with him, you will know that his ashram, Ramana Ashramam, is at Tiruvannamalai in the state of Tamil Nadu in India. And this is where he stayed at the feet of Arunachala for all his life. He never ventured out of that space. And in the temple, there is a in the ashram, there is a temple called as the Matru Bhuteshwara temple. Now, what is that temple? If many of you know, many of you don't know, I will tell you that that is called as the mother's shrine. So Sri Bhagwan's mother was very dear to him, and she is one of the souls that actually attained nirvana through his grace. So to dedicate his benevolence to Mother, Mother means Mother Divine, not only just his own personal connection with Mother. He actually consecrated this Matrubhuteshwara temple shrine, where he has enabled devotees to come and sit in that universal love, compassion of the Divine Mother. So that's a huge part of the Ramanashramam premises. And today what we are going to be reading is from this book. Now this is a very beautiful book. If any of you want to take it or have it, it is available at Sri Ramanashramam library. You can order it online or you can go there and purchase it. Now, this is called as Letters from Sri Ramanashramam. This is a fat, thick book. Don't get scared of it. But it's beautiful because here is a very beautiful devotee of Sri Bhagwan called Suri Nagama. Now, she was an Andhraite person and she stayed in the ashram and kept very witnessing and observing all the activities that happened in the ashram, in the meditation hall, where different kinds of people would come to meet Sri Bhagwan. And so she would meticulously record the observations that she made, and she would write these letters reporting these events and sharing the grace with her brother back home. So there are 273 letters that she wrote to her brother that have been put together in this book, which are about her detailing of the events that happened in the ashram. So here today we are going to be reading one part of the book where she has described the ceremony of how when the shrine was being built. So the how the events happened and how did Bhagwan participate in the setting up of the shrine. So as most of us connect with Bhagwan and we feel that, he never really consented or advocated, I'd say, to the ritualistic traditional methods of Indian worship. But here in this account, you're going to find and observe that he was so much a part of this entire Vedic traditional ceremony of laying the cornerstone, and how he did the stapna of the Sri Yantra in this temple. Everything was done in the very traditional methods, and he not only consented, but he also participated in it with his whole heart. So there was nothing that he was really against. That is what I want to bring to this point, is that he never said, don't do the ritual, don't do the tradition. So if you're a person who works with traditional Eastern Indian ways, or who has a traditional mindset, then also don't be scared to be with Sri Bhagwan, because you may think that, no, if I am with him, no to tradition and ritual. Definitely, he advocated self-inquiry to be the most direct method of self-realization. But for all devotees who came to him with their innocent ways of their own sadhanas, he always asked them and encouraged them to go deeper into that. He never said, no, don't do that, that's not good. So that's how, like, he had deep regard and respect for every path, and for the traditional Indian ways in which he himself did played his role the way it was apt at that point of time. So I'm going to be reading from the book. This is a rather long, approximately like a 10-minute read up. So I hope that you enjoy this. So this is page number 538 from the book, and this says Inauguration of Mother's Temple. The Vedic priests who were invited by the ashram obtained the permission of Bhagwan early morning on Sunday the 13th instant to perform the Chandi Homam and the worship of the Navakarnya Kas. On Monday the 14th, which was the full moon day, thousands of people gathered at the ashram as it was announced that the preliminaries for the Kumbh Abhishekam, such as puja of the ashram, presented the appearance of Kailas or heaven, brilliant electric lights everywhere. Pictures of Shiva's dance poses were tied up. The roads were crowded with shops on either side. The pandal was decorated with strings of green leaves, and the ashram was resounding with instrumental music. It was past 8 p.m. and the music stopped. The chanting of the Vedas could be heard from the side of the cowshed. Wondering what it was, I looked that side and saw the Vedics following Bhagwan from the side of the cowshed to the temple where the puja had already begun. After Bhagwan came and sat down on the sofa, another batch of Vedics chanting Vedas brought in Sri Shankaracharya of Puri, who had come here 2 days earlier. They seated him on a special sofa by the side of Sri Bhagwan. After that, hundreds of Brahmins sat at a distance from Bhagwan in rows and began filling the whole atmosphere with the music of the chanting of the Vedic hymns. It is no exaggeration to say that it exceeded the grandeur of even the Darbar of Brahma. The resplendent face of Bhagwan, who was seated under the starry sky, was radiating a cool luster all around. People were spellbound at the sight. It appeared as if the lustrous linga of Lord Arunachala himself had assumed that shape. The son of the Sarvadhikari, T.N. Venkataraman, came there accompanied by his wife and with Brahmins walking in front in a procession. The fruits and flowers that were brought with them were placed at the feet of Bhagwan. Venkataraman then prostrated before Bhagwan, and after obtaining his permission to begin the ceremonies, sat down on a wooden seat. After that, Vaidyanatha Stapti, the sculptor, came there with his attendants and prostrated before Bhagwan. The puja had then to be performed, and after the puja of the Dharmakarthas. So he obtained Bhagwan's permission and went away. Subsequently, the Vedics and the Ashramites came one after another, obtained Bhagwan's permission, and began the ceremonies with the worship of Ganapati. On completion of the worship, Venkataraman and his wife prostrated before Bhagwan and left. Soon after that, Bhagwan got up with the Purna Kalasham, that is, a pot full of water, and with a procession of Brahmins chanting Vedic hymns, he came to the hall, constructed a Mukha Mandapam, that is, a raised platform in front of the new temple, opened the doors leading on to the temple as a symbol of the opening of the temple. Thereafter, he went straight to the Samadhi, where the Linga is to be installed, as also the Meru Chakra. He touched it, examined them, went around the temple, examining everything, and then came to the hall in the front portion of the temple. At that place, a specially carved stone sofa had been placed for seating Bhagwan. In the center of the sofa, there was a lotus. In the back, the Pranavam or the Om, and on either side, there were two lions inscribed. On the four legs of the seat, there were carvings representing some of the avatars. All of them were painted with a golden hue. The ashram authorities wanted to seat Bhagwan on that stone sofa, not on that one day, but on the day of the Kumbha Abhishekam. That was why there was no bedspread on the sofa. All expected Bhagwan to examine it merely and come away, but he sat on the sofa unexpectedly. All were astonished. They prostrated before him. After a while, Bhagwan started from there and went into the shed erected for the Sri Chakra Yagam, and there he touched all the vessels. At about 10 a.m., he came back to his usual place in the Golden Jubilee Hall. After 2 a.m. in the night, Kulakarshanam and Ghatakarshanam were performed. The Chandi Yaga was begun and performed according to Shastric rites in the sheds of the Vedics. Similar rituals were performed in the Agama sheds also. Thus, in all the several places, the respective gods were invoked, and the vessels with sacrificial waters were installed, and the homas had begun. Besides the homas, 4 Vedas were being chanted by 4 different sets of people. The music of the Vedas was pleasing to the ear and created an atmosphere of serenity, reminding one of the atmosphere similar to that which prevailed in the ancient ashrams. Besides these, there was a recital of the Devi Bhagavatam also. On the second day, homas were performed in the same manner. Between 7 and 10 in the morning and between 5 and 10 in the evening, Yaga Puja was performed. The same morning, the oxen in the Gaushala or the cowshed were brought to the temple where the pujas were being performed. Their horns were decorated with turmeric powder, kumkum, and flower garlands, and a linga was tied between the horns of one of them. After the linga had dangled for a while between the horns as a part of the ritual, the oxen were sent back and the linga was taken in a procession to the temple, to the accompaniment of instrumental music and the chanting of the Vedas. After Pradakshina, the linga was taken inside. Subsequently, the idols of Yogamba, Viganeshwara, and Kartikeya were taken into the temple in the same manner. On the night of the second day, between 10:30 p.m. and midnight, the Meru Pratishta Sri Chakra was placed behind the linga by Bhagwan to the accompaniment of the chanting of the Vedas. After that, devotees chanted the appropriate mantras and placed the Meru Chakra in its proper place where the 9 gems were inset. There was another golden Sri Chakra which had to be placed under the linga and sealed with gold. As that would cause delay, at the request of the devotees, Bhagwan merely touched it and came back to his original seat. The remaining idols were installed by others subsequently. During the early morning of the third day, the Kalakarshana ceremony was performed. Thereafter, the various idols were fixed in their respective places, which were studded with the Navaratnas or the 9 gems. The stone sofa, which was specially prepared for Bhagwan, referred to earlier, was likewise studded with 9 gems. The most important of all the ceremonies was performed on the fourth day. Hearing the instrumental music as early as 2 a.m., I got up and went to the ashram and found the whole place full of people sleeping on the floor. There was no space even to walk along. As the music was played at different places, the people who were asleep woke up slowly. As all the yagas had been performed for 3 nights and were ended, the other rituals like Suvasini Puja, Sparsha Ahuti, and Purna Huti were performed. On the morning itself, the kalash or the water pots were placed in the temple with appropriate rituals. Subsequently, the priests carried on their heads the Purna Kalasham with chanting of the mantras, went around Bhagwan, and with his permission climbed up the summit of the temple. Bhagwan sat on the sofa and all the devotees prostrated before him. After that was done, he was taken into the shed where the yaga was being performed and was made to sit on a chair, and the tower of the temple was sanctified with the sprinkling of the holy water. Thereafter, Bhagwan was brought to the interior kalasa of the temple and was made to sit on a bench before the Nandi, and then Abhishekam was done to the Meru Yantra and to the Matrubhuteshwara Lingam. After this Mahakumbha Abhishekam, Bhagwan resumed his seat. Niranjanananda Swami, who was responsible for all the festivities, was garlanded and honored in the presence of Bhagwan. In the evening at 4, the Ayurvedic doctor Bangalore Ramachandra Rao gave a lecture in the presence of Bhagwan about the utility of Kumbha Abhishekams, how the twigs used in the Homa contained rare medicines, and how when they were burnt with mantras, all diseases of the lungs got cured by the inhaling of the fumes. That is why he said, elders have ordained us to perform yagnams and homams. In the evening at 5:30, Dr. K. Vijay Raghavan gave a music recital. In the night after 8 p.m., Maha Abhishekam was performed. A troupe of Tirupaga singers performed bhajans on all the 4 days in the presence of Bhagwan and also at the Yagashalas. There was no limit to poor feeding on all the 3 days. Special arrangements were made with the help of the police and volunteers for poor feeding. Bhagwan went around with his attendants during the feeding to supervise the arrangements. Cinema people took a film of all the festivities. The festivities came to a close with the usual mantras. As the work in the hall in the front of the temple was not over, Bhagwan came back to the Golden Jubilee Hall the same night. This write-up is dated on 24th March 1949. So for all those who joined late, this is the book from which I was reading. This is called Letters from Sri Ramana by Suri Nagam. So that's how there were festivities, there were appropriate Vedic style traditions and proper rituals conducted for the Mahakumbha Abhishekam of Mother's Shrine. And all the idols were done the proper rituals and they were installed in their respective places, and how Sri Bhagwan blessed the event and also took personal interest and participated in many consecration of the Sri Yantra and other idols. So this is something that we don't really read much about. So I thought that this would be a different thing to share in today's meeting. And now we will be, I will be sharing screen and I will be playing the Akshar Manmalai, which is fondly called as the bridal garland of letters. So these are special, this is a special hymn that Sri Bhagwan actually channeled in great devotion to Arunachala, the sacred mountain. And in this, he considers himself to be like the bride of Arunachala. And it's done in a very devotional bhakti style in which he is almost asking and begging of Arunachala to become one with him so that there is no duality between them. So the pining of how a recently married couple is, that is being very lovingly demonstrated through various hymns sectors here. And this is a 20-minute rendition that we will be hearing. After that, we will have 10 minutes of silence, and the meeting will be ending with that. So I request you to please continue here and just enjoy this rendition, and also participate in the 10-minute silence. Do not go without that, because that is the teaching, and that is what we need to inculcate and ensure that it's not just a theoretical understanding or reading from a book, but it's also applying. So daily practice of even few minutes of silence can be very rewarding to our journeys. And this meeting, we try to ensure that we do give that practice to ourselves, to sit with ourselves silently. Thank you very much. I'm sharing the screen now. Sandeep, is my screen visible?
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचल 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 शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल 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 अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव
So I hope all of you have enjoyed this rendition. I'm sorry I mentioned it as Akshar Man Malai. It's actually the chant of Arunachala Shiva repeating itself. So very wonderful, very calming, very peaceful, very silencing. So you can play it during your days and you can enjoy the bliss and silence of Arunachala Ramana through your daily activities, through whatever you do, you keep the remembrance alive. So I actually paused it a bit earlier because I wanted to use this opportunity to interact with you a little bit. So if any of you would want to share any experiences, any emotions that you may be having right now, or you may be wanting to share with us, since this is a satsang where all of us are participating. How did you come to know of Sri Bhagwan? How did you encounter his blessings? What do you feel and how has he helped you in your journeys? Please unmute yourself and speak one by one. We have a 10-minute slot for this sharing. Anyone can speak. It's just beautiful. Just go in the flow. Why you're here, okay? Any of you would want to share why you're here today? What has inspired you to be here today? Ruby, would you like to share something? Anyone? Am I audible to all of you? Okay. Sandeep, would you like to share something?
Not much, Dr. Pallavi, but yes, being part of this event every Sunday, it's like a reboot. That's all. I think, and the understanding of Bhagwan for me is simplicity. I think it is the very basic things of life is what he magnifies into the infinity. How, just being the subtlest form, you can become a complete person. Like we
Yes.
all want to see the world all around the world, but he hasn't moved out of his ashram or his place for a long time, but yet he is known across the world. That shows the power of knowledge, the right knowledge or the true knowledge. So I believe when we become part of such people's, journey, even in their memories or in their readings, we also inculcate such kind of understanding. So I think that's it.
Yes. So basically, what you're trying to say is emphasizing on the magnetic principle on which Sri Bhagwan actually existed. So he really didn't go out and do social reform or great acts of philanthropy to the world in the outside dimension, but he radiated so much peace, so much love, so much silence, so much compassion right from where he was. So it's like a magnet that draws everybody to it without even moving itself. That is the stillness of Shiva. That is the magnetism of Shiva. That even after leaving the body, the Guru's presence is so powerful that has drawn that presence, that power has drawn us to this satsang today. Otherwise, we would be doing something else in our activity schedule as planned. Anyone else wants to share anything, please feel free. It's a very non-formal platform, so you can please share. Raji, would you like to
I think
share?
anybody can share even today's also. Need not be like a
Oh,
past experience.
yeah, yeah.
Even today's experience of the satsang can be shared as well.
Everybody feels very quiet, I guess. So let's, if no one wants to share, then we have around 12 minutes more. So we can just immerse in silence, and please don't leave the meeting. Just stay till the end and use the next 10 minutes to be quiet. Thank you so much for coming here today. Namaste.